Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be predicting the 2026 Senate midterms election map based on how this map would look like based on the 2025 previous election results, according to the blue wave or the Democratic landslide that we saw a few Tuesdays ago. Before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss my content, press the like button, share this video. Don't forget we have memberships if you're interested. You can find links to that in the description section. So if you take a look at the 2025 election results, the blue wave year, which in 2021 you compare it to the other off-year election, which it was a red wave year in which Glenn Youngkin obviously was the underdog. He ended up winning. Now 2025 is the exact opposite. It looks like everything is flipping. So Abigail Spansberger overperformed majority of polling averages by about 5 percentage points. That's a lot, especially considering it's a Democrat overperforming the polls, not a Republican, which usually typically it's the opposite. Republicans are underestimated now in 2025. The polls even are changing and evolving as well, in which Democrats are all of a sudden, overperforming the polls, and polls are underestimating them out of nowhere. Honestly, that's really what's happening. And then another example, New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, even overperformed the polls by a greater margin than Spanberger did by 7 or 8 points, according to the majority of polling averages. I mean, if you take a look at the polls right up to prior, the day before the election, Sherrill had a lead on average, according to the polls, by about 7 points, and she won by much greater than that. So she underestimated by literally like 7 points. And then Spanberger, according to the polling averages right up to the election, she was up by like 11 points on average, and she ended up winning by like around 16, somewhere around there. So it's a significant, overperformance by the Democrats in the polls, underestimating them, which we usually do not see. Now, one thing I do want to mention is the only Democrat that night that did not overperform the polls is Zohran Mamdani. In fact, he actually slightly underperformed them. Like he was winning on average about 15 points. He only ended up winning by about 9 points, a little bit under, double digits, getting within single digits. So he was the only one that actually did underperform. So we take a look at this map based on the Virginia and New Jersey. That's what we're really going to be taking a look at. Disregard New York. So if 2026 ends up like Virginia and New Jersey's race for governor in 2025, Democrats will obviously have another blue wave year in the midterms as well. So let's begin with Alaska. Now, I do want to mention the reason why I have Alaska, even though it should be a solid red state, is because there is a small possibility that Mary Patola, who lost her House race by about 4 points in the 2024 election, she might run. There's a possibility. She has not made a decision yet, so that's what's holding Democrats back from having Alaska be in play here. So it's likely Republican. I just want to, put clarity to that. But if she does end up running, it might be for governor. Honestly, she has a better chance at winning if she runs for governor rather than the Senate. But if she does run for Senate, if they do somehow get lucky, if the Democrats get lucky enough, she can win by under a point. But, if she does end up running, it will be extremely close. But still, I just want to mention that. Florida, obviously, I don't even know why I did not characterize that yet. It should be solid Republican. That's an error. That's a mistake on my part. So we move on to Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, and Maine. Those are the true only 4 competitive Senate races in 2026. So Republicans already have an advantage because the map favors them so heavily. So they're already probably guaranteed to win. So in the Democrats' best case scenario, based on the 2025 blue wave off-year election year, Georgia's going to be a likely blue state for Jon Ossoff. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced she's not going to run, and Brian Kemp also has announced he's not going to run. So the Democrats save themselves, and the Republicans save themselves, obviously. So Georgia's going to be likely blue for Jon Ossoff. Now, he won back in 2020 by just a bit under a percentage point. Obviously, if you compare it to someone like Raphael Warnock is 10 times better than Jon Ossoff as a candidate, especially among African American voters. It's very important here in the state. But Jon Ossoff is going to win by about 5 and maybe even 6 points if we're really going to compare this to the Democrats' overperformance in the 2025 election. I don't believe he has any competition, really. That's just the honest truth. Georgia's going to be a likely blue state in the 2026 Senate race. Now, governor is different. Republicans have a better chance at winning that, obviously. Now, North Carolina, Roy Cooper is going to go up against Michael Watley, most likely as the Republican nominee. Now, he used to be, I believe, the RNC chairman or something like that, so he has a bit name recognition among the GOP, that voter base, but still, that's not going to be enough. Roy Cooper is a very popular former governor in this state, and especially considering if 2025 were to reflect 2026, Roy Cooper, I believe, wins by a lean margin of about maybe 4 percentage points or so. Right in between that lean margin, 3 to 4 points. And then Michigan, I believe Mike Rogers came within under percentage point in 2024. Now that year, Donald Trump was on the ballot. He won't be in 2026, so Mike Rogers' chance of winning goes significantly down as the Republican nominee. Now the Democratic nominee may be a poor candidate, but still not going to be enough to carry Mike Rogers to the top, especially in a blue wave year, unfortunately. And then in Maine, Susan Collins has been in a juggernaut in this state as a moderate Republican. I believe she's going to win again, even in Democratic best case scenario, by about a lean margin or so. Now, she would win by probably more if 2025 ends up not reflecting 2026, because, Mills is not, the Democratic candidate isn't really that great. So, and there's concerns with age as well. So 48 Democrats, 52 Republicans. Democrats do make one Senate gain in the year of 2026 compared to 2024. So this is what the map would look like if 2025 were to reflect 2026 being another blue wave year. I mean, even if the Democrats do have their best case scenario, in which this map I put them at their best case, they still won't win because the map is so favorable for GOP, for the Republicans, unfortunately. Let me know what states you agree with or disagree with in the comment section down below. And do you believe that the 2025 blue wave year will reflect 2026? One last fine reminder is don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, press the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you're interested, we have memberships, so you can find links to that in the description section. Thank you everyone for watching.